Americans are sending Donald Trump an urgent message. They're hurting and they blame his policies. But a president who built a powerful political movement partly on channeling heartland grievances over the faded American dream now seems deaf to the country's economic pain. He has other priorities, like a $29 billion and counting war that many citizens blame for their financial troubles. The president is fixated on extravagant legacy projects like a huge White House ballroom, and making a landmark that reflects the greatness of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington look like the sky blue pools at his golf resorts. Meanwhile, Trump is awaiting delivery of a luxury new Air Force One, gifted by Qatar but adapted with taxpayer cash. And survey work has just started on a towering triumphal arch that would loom over the Capitol after he's left office. And rather than showing sympathy over tough times for many citizens, Trump spent Monday night posting a long screed of bizarre, false and insulting material on social media. This excess feels like a callous optical error when millions of Americans are having a tough time affording their monthly grocery bills, paying for housing and buying gasoline. And Trump can't stop doubling down on his Sun King Act. On Tuesday, the president said, "I don't think about Americans' financial situation when it comes to negotiating with Iran." He insisted he cares only about preventing the Islamic Republic from getting a nuclear weapon. When a reporter asked him to justify the rising price tag for his White House ballroom, for which he's now asking Congress for millions in security upgrades, the president blew up. "I doubled the size of it, you dumb person," he bellowed. Earlier this month, Trump lashed out at Democratic criticisms over affordability, saying that they'd caused the crisis. "They got one good line of bullshit," he added. On Monday, Trump boasted that his administration was getting the prices down big. Hours later, new government data showed that for the first time in 3 years, Americans' wages are no longer outpacing inflation. Prices rose 0.6% on a monthly basis to 3.8%, the highest level since May 2023. This means that any wage increases are quickly eaten up by rising prices, and Americans are left poorer overall. These are not just abstract numbers. Americans are not only feeling more economic pain in their daily lives, they are connecting it directly to Trump. A new CNN SSRS poll released Tuesday found that 77% of Americans, including a majority of Republicans, say his policies have increased the cost of living in their own community. The president has a stunning career-low 30% approval rating on the economy. Only 26% of Americans approve of his handling of inflation, and 75% of Americans say the Iran war has hurt their finances. The fact that dissatisfaction on economic matters is reaching the 70% range suggests that some Republicans, as well as Democrats and independents, are angry at Trump. Logic and political history suggest that voters will punish the president and his Republican Party for this record in November's midterm elections. In just 2 years, affordability, the weapon that Trump wielded against Democratic foes President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris in 2024, has become an incumbent's curse. Many voters turn to Trump to alleviate their economic pressures. Latest data and polling suggests he has failed to deliver. Why won't Trump focus on what voters want? The reasons for Trump's almost deliberate and self-harming indifference are harder to fathom. It's not like the White House hasn't tried to focus him on the issue. It has sent Trump out on the road to talk affordability, but he's mocked speeches that are written for him. The president's Oval Office events meant to hit an economic message often degenerate into improvisational riffs on things that seem to matter to him more. In April, at a health care affordability event, Trump waxed away about the ballroom he'll build in the hole left by the East Wing. Trump has major initiatives designed to lower the costs of prescription drugs prices and to make housing more affordable. He just won't talk about them. Trump has been an effective economic messenger in past campaigns, weaving a dystopian tale of a nation ripped off by foreigners who sent American jobs to China. No modern politician has focused more on the negative impacts of globalization and the failure of political leaders to help those left behind. Yet Trump has always been more of an attack dog than an empathizer. He doesn't respond well to criticism and questioning. As a salesman, Trump is used to stressing the positive, to creating an idealized version of a product. His depictions of the economy roaring into a new golden age often seem like a picture of things as he'd like them to be, not as they are. But voters aren't buying it. Consumer sentiment fell to fresh record lows this month. There are some good spots in the remarkably resilient American economy for Trump to highlight. Job growth was better than expected in April. Even if economists worry that the employment market is frozen, many Americans got a bigger than expected tax refund, thanks to the president's big beautiful domestic policy bill this year, a windfall that also gave the economy a stimulus, and spending has remained strong. But on the whole, Americans are feeling gloomy. Another reason Trump seems oblivious to the real state of the economy may be that his preferred metrics do not reflect the breadth of reality. He often cheers record-breaking stock prices, which have largely weathered the impact of the Iran war and have provided a boost to 401k plans. But this route to economic security only helps those Americans who have assets and stocks. Soaring equities prices disproportionately help the better off, leaving others further behind. And Trump, who picked a cabinet of millionaires and billionaires, rarely spends much time with people who might panic when gas rises by over $1 a gallon, as it has done this year. Some Republicans argue that oil prices will plummet when the Strait of Hormuz reopens, and captive tankers flood the market with their product. But analysts warn that the cost of gasoline will take months to stabilize even if the Iran war ends. Americans who've seen their paychecks strained at the pumps won't get back the extra cash they've already spent. And there's no sign the president knows how to get Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz soon. Republican lawmakers don't seem too worried. Ohio Republican Sen. Bernie Moreno said Tuesday that while the gas price situation is tough, he believes Trump's trip to China this week could help resolve the war and bring prices down. How will Democrats respond? The damning contrast between Trump's personal gilded age and the daily economic realities of many Americans ought to provide an opening for Democrats. The party now enjoys the political advantage that Trump once had, the ability to use affordability as a cudgel. Trump's remark about not considering Americans' economic problems came in the context of his argument that what matters most is preventing Iran from becoming a nuclear power. This would be more convincing had Trump steeled citizens for the need for national sacrifice before the war and been realistic about how long it could last. Democrats quickly built the comment into their midterm election pitch, and it's likely to be ubiquitous in campaign ads. Donald Trump just said the quiet part out loud. He doesn't care about Americans who are struggling to make ends meet in his economy, said Democratic National Committee Communications Director Rosemary Boglin. Trump has made the economy a living hell for working families, with prices for gas, groceries, and healthcare skyrocketing, jobs becoming harder to find. Democrats ran hard on affordability in winning gubernatorial elections last year in Virginia and New Jersey, but they are yet to break through with policies that would materially ease the cost of living. The CNN SSRS poll showed that Democrats are more trusted than the GOP to handle issues, including the cost of living, helping the middle class and inflation. But on each of the issues tested, more than 30% of Americans, including half or more of political independents, trusted neither party. This suggests the specter of high inflation and failure to convince voters on affordability still hamper Democrats heading into 2026 and 2028. When the Biden administration told the country that inflation was transitory, the evidence of voters' own lives meant they didn't believe it. And they were right. Trump's obfuscation may be just as unconvincing. The president has got the same problem with his economic underperformance that he has with the Iran war. Bleak reality means he can't just talk his way out of a political hole.